You make me feel nothing like that again. Oh, slow. Oh, slow. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Ooh. You bring me to my knees, you make me testify. Ooh. You can make a sinner change his ways. Ooh. Open up your gates, 'cause I can't wait to see the light. Ooh. And that is where I wanna stay. Ooh. 'Cause your sex takes me to paradise. Yeah, your sex takes me to paradise.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:34. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late. Just trying to get myself together. I need to remark some of these charts. I wasn't here for the close. I was in the city yesterday visiting my friend. Actually, not even visiting my friend. I went to New York Stock Exchange. I got to see actually the Einstein of Wall Street, my friend Peter Tuchman, and do Fox Business from the New York Stock Exchange. Anyway, I've been doing that for a long time. So once a month I go in, tell the world what I'm thinking at this point. You know, here we are, S&P futures back up 20. It's been very, very choppy up here, but what it's still doing, it's holding up here. You know, it's held this 687, held 689, building, probably for a move above this spot whenever it's ready. You know, Dow's above 50,000. Things are on the move, but it's not everything that used to be on the move. It's different things. You know, sequences change, and sectors change, and it's your job to figure out, you know, where the money is, where the momentum is, and I got to do that also, right? I'm in the trenches here with you. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com, founder of Red Dog Mindset. I hope everyone's feeling well, getting their day going. Cheers to you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. Let's see who's tuning in. We got Ken is always here. We got What Up, great segment on Liz claiming. That's cool. The dog still got it. Come on. Anyway, what up, BP? I'll be honest. I've been turning down media. It's like, why do I need to go on to talk for 3 minutes and do some sound bites when I can sit here for 20 minutes, go over charts, go what I'm thinking, add value to those who want to tune in, go over levels, go over where I've been making money, where my guys have been making money, where we've been careful with. I'd rather do it that way than leave my desk at 1 o'clock to get to the city for a 3-minute segment to say, hey, look at me, I was on TV. Been doing it for so long. But anyway, once a month I'll do it. That's about it. But here we are. SPYs are up 2 points after the drift. We keep getting this morning drift, but all in all, we're still right back in the middle here, rebuilding for potentially a move higher. Qs have been really lagging, but they've been lagging for a while, which everybody does know. You still do have a box here. Yesterday, I'm like, do we get above and stay above 616? Got above there for 5 minutes. Most people faded the strength into there. If you did so, you made money. If you bought that spot, you didn't. What did you do? Every day, you got to figure out what'd you do right, what'd you do wrong, and the Qs are still, just smack in the middle of this bigger range where the money's not. XLE's trending. Look at that. Wow. Some people were we're like, oh my God, it's on the do not touch list. It's been in a range for a decade. I'm like, the bigger the base, the bigger the space. That's what they say, right? So anyway, it's your job to be able to buy it when it finally clears 45 or finally clears 47 or 49. And look at that move above the 8-day moving average, which is, something I've been teaching for 20 years. When things are above the 8-day moving average, you want to be long. When things are, trending, you got to be in there and look at the weekly chart, cup and handle patterns. On the weekends, I usually post chart pattern, infographics. One of my favorite is the cup and handle. And boy, was this a cup and handle pattern, right? Look at this accumulation for so long. Yes, you were knocking your head against the wall if you were doing this from 2015 on, but there were still sequences in there. And then finally it broke above 46. And what a nice move. Measured move is like 75. So, pick and choose your spots wisely. Went over Chevron with you guys a bunch of times. Look at that move. Still going. If you bought it above 160, congratulations. It's been insane. Exxon's been leading the way. I just did a power play with Schlumberger. I do think Schlumberger is going to hit at least 61. So if you wanted some exposure there, there's a lot of things to do there. It all depends on what you want to do, but that's been working really well. You know what else has been working really well? First of all, the 8-day is your friend. When it's above the 8-day and the 21-day, you want to be long. You want to try and stay with that sequence. And sometimes they rebuild. I'm kind of shooting myself that I didn't buy some of these memory names yesterday. A lot of my guys in the afternoon were buying, SanDisk or Micron or maybe even Western Digital. I've talked about this. I've shown you. I posted the charts the past 2 weeks. You look at SanDisk. It's trading a lot better than Google, a lot better than Amazon. Like, look at this move. Wow. And yesterday, what did it do? It poked its head back above the 8-day. So it went from 725, came in, didn't even see the 21-day, poked its head above the 8-day. And now look what SanDisk is doing today. So if you bought SanDisk, you get 38 points in follow through just by trading this trend line. Maybe I should have called in the order, but anyway, 38 points. What a strong trend above the 8-day. How to pull back. These things do. Bull flag up to 637. This is the prior high, and these things have been moving together. So if SanDisk is up, look what Micron did. Look at Micron back above the 8-day, held the 21-day. Yes, it gave you a small little pull-in from 455, so you could have made some cute money. But look at this rebuild, back above the moving averages. Look where this thing is. So MU, which trades with SanDisk, it's up 11 points. So maybe you don't want to trade the crazy because SanDisk could be crazy. You're trading MU, which is a cheaper stock. It's up 11. So if you took this home loan, you're getting paid. So SanDisk, MU, even Western Digital, which is a little slower, which has a really nice pattern here. Look at Western Digital. Western Digital up another 8. So if you bought Western Digital, verse 254, which was the 8th, and said, hey, I'm going to be a buyer of Western Digital, I might add to it if it gets above 296, you still don't even have the momentum add. So this group has been moving well. If you're trying to catch cute shorts, there's been cute shorts, but really the trend has been to the upside. And who knows how long it lasts. I'm not saying go out and buy these today, but this trend has been strong. Much better than, if you look here, look at Amazon. Amazon's up 65 whole cents. Sucks. For now, it'll rebuild, and one day it'll be better. But for now, it's not where the action is. Look at this. And then, look what Google is. What a pain in the butt. Below the 50-day, it's up $1.80. I'm just saying, like, some people are like, oh, the market's so horrible, the market's so bad. And yes, it's tricky, but there's stuff going on if you're moving around, if you're using filters, if you're using, different sectors. If you're still stuck in the mud and you're trying to trade Palantir to the upside, you're losing. Just because Palantir last year, was a great trade from 97 to here, now it's, now I guess you could say, hey, look at that. It made a little bit of a higher low. So what did it do? You had a broken bounce to the 8-day, rejected, and now, I guess see if this holds and if it starts acting better there. ASTI did a money raise. ASTI has not been acting so well. Either is Rocket Labs. They've been, raising money, doing debt offerings. The drone names have been crappy. I tried playing those in January. I made some decent money, and then I got stopped out of the rest, and now I'm trying to be a little careful. Look at ASTI. But this is when it was momentum above the 8-day, above the 21-day. Now the moving averages are curling down. I could see why some traders would have been long this year. I'm not, fortunately, I guess. And now they raise some money and see what happens here. If you're light in, not ASTI, sorry. Why did I say ASTI? I'm talking more ASTS, my bad. It's down 8.5. That happens. 88. Every time it's done one of these, it's been buyable. So you'll see if it's buyable. How would I go about buying ASTS for the longer term now? Well, what you could do is, first of all, here was your red dog reversal sell. Here broke the 8-day. Now, I could see why some traders would be in this. If you're in a long term, you're in a long term also. Then you have to deal with this. You've dealt with this before. So from what I'm hearing, I think the convertible is converted into it's somewhere around $85 a share. So maybe wait till 85. At 85, what you could do is you can go out 3 months and buy $95 calls because sometimes it takes time to work through it. You could try and buy versus level, or maybe go out 2 months and sell the $80 puts. But ultimately, here's your 100-day. This would be pretty compelling. But anyway, and Rocket Labs too has also been, kind of broken from. This didn't even make a new high while ASTS did. So sectors change, momentum leaves, stocks rebuild, and you got to figure out, how that happens. Oh, so you're saying ASTI? Okay, sorry, but anyway, people wanted me to go over ASTS anyway. Yeah, Apple actually, yesterday while I was on the road, I'm long Apple. I'm long Apple calls. Something came out that, they there's a little bit of a delay with Siri. I think it'll be fine. It just kind of screwed up the momentum there. So I would think it holds this area. I think it'd be nice if it could rebuild here, and then at some point it takes out 281. I did buy some more in here. I did trim some into resistance before I left, but I do still have Apple. And all of a sudden, I'm ready to go on Fox Business. I'm like, what happened to Apple? It was strong all day. And then someone's like, oh, Siri is delayed. So anyway, see what it does today. It's in no man's land a little bit. It's down $1.28. It happens. I would say use this as your stop, 271 if you're active. If you're an investor, no stops. If you're an investor, it doesn't really matter. You've been in this making a lot of money for a long time. It's fine. No, Vincent has asked me, are these memory names considered parabolic moves, or are they setting up for a crash? I personally don't think this is parabolic. This was definitely a big move, but it just reset up. This isn't parabolic, and it didn't break. Silver was parabolic. Like silver was parabolic and then broke, and I feel like SanDisk and MU are probably right around here of this trend, or maybe even here, just trending really well. Look how far away this was extended, and it went all the way down to the 50-day. By the way, I still think silver can go up. I'm long a little silver versus 72, but this was an acceleration. Right now, SanDisk, didn't really accelerate. It just had a really nice move and probably rebuilding and can continue to go. MU also is like, had a nice move. It didn't go parabolic. It's resetting up. So I do think this trend can continue. But gold and silver were parabolic. Like look at that move. Like look how it just started to go nuts and then pull back just as fast. And now it's got to hold this 460. So if you're in gold and silver, just give it a little room. I would if you're really active, give GLD to 460-ish. But yeah. Like light GLW, yeah, Sienna. So these are working also. I haven't really been in Sienna. My friends are in Sienna, trending right along. So yeah, there's definitely things to do that are outside of, I don't even want to call it the Mag 7 anymore because it's disbanded. And for those of you who traded IGV with me, we did pretty damn good there, to be honest. I was buying the calls in here with my community. I put out a power play here. I added there. I sold some, and I got rid of it on Tuesday, and then that happened. Now the question is, will it make a higher low? So this is 81.93. Are we going to get a W? If you remember, I was on Spaces with some of these, guys that were talking about how they don't like to get the first move. So the first move in IGV, which is the software sector, was here, rejected into the 8-day. You have a higher low. So now the question is, what kind of bounce will it have here? Actually, you could even raise this up now. This is where it peaked. This was what, 80, didn't even get to 86. It went to 87.06. So in order for this to rebuild into a better active sequence off these lows, you now have 81.93. It could, try and give you a bounce, but if it doesn't even get up here and continues lower, then you better be careful there. CMG was my that was my January fact name that I got away from. Let's see what's it been doing. Yeah, remember I had it here. That was a nice trade. I haven't traded it since I get out of the way. Broken. That was just a January effect play, and I said my target was 41. Pretty nice. What's it doing today? So that's up a whole 9 cents. Broken name. Broken names are broken names. IWM decent pullback level. Daily chart maybe stay. Let's see. IWM got a little shaken up yesterday because the jobs report was deemed hotter than weaker. So when the jobs report is hotter, that means rates go up versus down, and the IWM likes rates lower. All so far they did is push where they're going to cut from June to July, but it kind of held in there. But it definitely was loose and wide, So you take all these out of the way. So now, if IWM is any good, it holds this little spot. What's this spot now? A new point of reference after some market discovery, 262. So it probably needs a little bit of time. Software dead. I don't know if it's dead. I'm not smart enough to know. All I know is when yesterday I was on with Liz, I was talking about the BlackBerry. Remember the BlackBerry? Everyone in the world had a BlackBerry, and for 4 quarters in a row, they had great numbers. And every time it came up with great numbers, the streets sold it. Every time it was sold, I'm like, why do they keep selling the BlackBerry every time? What a great company! Everyone's got one. Boom! A year later, the iPhone came out, and then 2 years later, there was no more BlackBerries. So maybe AI is definitely eating software's lunch, and maybe a lot of these software companies will not be needed. So that's why, like ServiceNow, like a great quarter they sold. SAP, what's going on? Sold. You could take a whole spreadsheet and put it in AI and say, hey, organize this into a database by alphabet, by number, this and that. It does it in 3 seconds. Something that programmers used to have to do with software. Anyway, I don't know. All I know is Microsoft has been Microsoft will probably be fine and it'll reinvent itself like it's reinvented itself in a while, but it has to rebuild. But some of these other software names may never. It gave you a small trade to the 8-day. That's it. And now again, just like the IGV, is you could say, hey, will this be a higher low? This is 401. It came in a lot more than it should have. So what does that mean? So what I'm saying is, so if you get a move from 392 to just say where it got to 423, it didn't come back horribly, but if this doesn't hold 401 and puts in a lower high here, you have to be careful. So far, this was move one. Do we get a second move here? It's got to hold 401 for that second move, and I'm not that interested, to be honest. Has anyone seen the 630 Club to say Uh-oh. Is the 630 Club working? It is? Something's going on with Twitter. Yesterday, I did the 630 Club, and then the on-demand version wasn't on Twitter. It was on YouTube and whatnot, but anyway, Deer, you've been in Deer? You've been killing it. I haven't been in Deer. Wow. Look at this technical pattern in Deer. This is why my friends at TrendSpider have their buddy, their sidekick. It shows them names above the 8-day ready to break out, and it doesn't matter what the name is. Holy cow, look at Deer. I am not in Deer. If you're in Deer, guess what? Followed the 8-day all the way up. Caterpillar, holy cannoli. What's a cannoli? It's an Italian dessert that you have sometimes with sambuca. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, look at this move. Every now and then people are like, hey, could you chart Caterpillar? I'm like, sure I can. Nice breakout. Wow. So there's lots of things happening in lots of places. Where are you? What are you doing? Are you focused on the old names that worked a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or are you moving along? I feel like I've done a decent job, dissecting moves and staying with the action, but I could have done better also. It's February 12th. It's not a big deal. You're in the second month of 2026. There's a lot of year left. If you're flattish or downish a little bit, get over it. Start doing the better things. If you're up money, congratulations. Build on it. And if you're frustrated, it's not gonna serve you. Get rid of it. You see what happened with the guy from Dawson's Creek? Holy cow! This guy was like, I don't even know, 49 years old, just died of colon cancer. You think you're having a bad day? You could be on top of the world. He was like one of the most popular actors in the world. And then he was a father, and then he was a dad, and then he got cancer and he passed away. Holy sugar honey iced tea. That's crazy. I'm 53. Every day above ground is a good day. So figure out what makes you happy and figure out what you got to do to make your day work. Anyway, some people ask me about what about Nvidia? Is Nvidia finally going to go? I don't know. I've been kind of focused on Nvidia, and I've made a little bit of money, but it's not SanDisk, it's not MU, it's not even TSM, but it is hanging here. It is holding. I'm not going to get away from it. I did trim a little bit into strength yesterday. I haven't bought any strength in this stock. I used to be a buy high and sell higher. To make money higher, you have to buy perfectly. But anyway, at some point, it feels like it should get above this and could see a nice little move, but it just hasn't had the power yet. It's more like a source of funds. I'm staying with it. I'm trying to be in it. I have 195 calls for next Friday. I sold some for then because I did buy some in here, and we'll see, does today stick better for Nvidia? I don't know. All I know is I have not added. I've trimmed some, and every day or every afternoon it has this Friday, the afternoon fade. So I would think it could close on the highs, but it hasn't. But who am I? Anyway, 191.85. This is 193.66, 192.48. It's got to get above 190, 194-ish with authority, like almost like where you can't buy it. And I don't know if it's going to be news. I don't know what it's going to be. But when that happens, you're going to want to be long, all of a sudden I think you blow on it and it'll be 199. I'm just saying, that's what I think. It's been decent, but it hasn't been the best place to be. It's been better than some other things. NBS has earnings this AM. Okay. Okay. So NBIS has earnings this morning. People are saying, pretty tight. A lot of the strength has been sold. So, see how it does. This is 108. If it has earnings and gets above 95.55, who knows? Maybe it starts getting a little bit better. But, that's what I was in NBIS a lot, during this move. Look at this pro gap. This was a great place to be, a great time to be involved in NBIS. Then it held the 8 day, went all the way to 141. And then guess what happened? A reversal pattern here that was a lower high. And that was pretty much kind of the out. And then more because it never got back above. And since then, it's been in a rebuild. But all these names have been in rebuild. The drones have been in rebuild. The data centers are in rebuild. The satellite there's a lot of rebuild going on, which if you're over trading the rebuild in these charts, it's going to hurt you psychologically. So make sure you're not doing too much and know what's going on here. All right, Vincent, I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, tomorrow's Friday. Guess what? Red Dog's going to do a 6:30 club on Friday tomorrow. If you want to be involved, subscribe to the Red Dog Mindset. I've been doing 6:30 club for free since 2020. So if you want to be grandfathered in and you get value out of the 6:30 club, which is 20 minutes of my honest thoughts when I'm feeling my best, and you want to do a workout, I did a workout this morning, and I did a cleanse. If you want to try and do all these things to prime yourself so you can execute, which is what I do, I've been doing it for 28 years, subscribe to the Red Dog Mindset. It's $10 a month. This is $5 a day, $10 a month, and you basically get my undivided attention. I can't even respond to people on Twitter anymore. They're bots. Every time I tweet, someone's attached to it. So if you're a subscriber to the Red Dog Mindset, I could see your comment and we could actually have conversations because you're a real person. You're not a computer. But anyway, if not, I appreciate you as well. And if you're part of the Alpha team, I'm about to, go hang out with you on the Alpha team and do 40 charts and see if we could rub some charts together and make some money today and stack some days. Listen, if you had a tough week, get a day one. Day one could lead to stacking days. If you had a great week, keep up the good work. Keep working hard, and I'll see you. I'll see you a little bit later. I'm about to go get the rest of the day together. Win the morning, win the day, my doggies. I'll see you in the VTF, Vincent.